All right, we're going to talk about the IT monitoring and assurance practices for the board and senior management. And beyond them, it is important that all stakeholders, which would be the board, senior management, and everybody else, provide input into the decision-making process about IT governance. So it's a little bit more than just good management practice. It's also a framework of IT controls, but it's also a management system that's about the stewardship of the IT resources on behalf of the stakeholders. Now, IT governance really starts in the hands of the board of directors and the executive management, as it should. It is their job to run this particular business or organization. Now, even though risk management and compliance monitoring in our components, it should be noted that governance should be focused on delivering value and measuring performance. Notice, of course, what I just said there. We've talked about needing risk management and compliance monitoring of our components, and we did that through the audit process. But beyond just the auditing process, governance is more than that. It is overly focused on making the company better. And again, that's where the value and the measuring of performance comes in. Having ways to be able to look at that, monitor it, watch it, and improve it. Now, you should think of IT governance as a shared management process. By shared management, what we're saying is that it's not up to the IT department by itself to make all the decisions about how it should be governed. In fact, if allowed to just be self-managed like that, you may lose the perspective of the goal of IT, which is the support of the overall business. And it allows poor decisions basically to be held directly on those responsible for making those poor decisions, and they may be considered poor decisions because of how they are designed to integrate with the overall business support. In other words, it might not have been from some perspective to IT a poor decision, but when considered in the overall plans of trying to meet the organization's objectives, it may have been decided that that was a bad decision. The other reason for shared management is that this way, based on the decisions that all of the management was involved in, the board and the executive management, that means that different departments can't solely place blame against IT if there is poor performance. Because again, it wasn't just IT that made the decision, but one of a shared process. IT governance is designed to ensure that the IT performance meets the objectives of aligning IT with the organization's objectives. And you've heard me say that a few times now. It's very important to remember that they are designed to be integrated together. IT should enable an enterprise to exploit new opportunities and maximize benefits from those opportunities. The goal of having the IT governance framework is to help align it with the accepted best practices, and it's important to know that the framework should be made up of a variety of structures, processes, and relational mechanisms. And the reason we say that is that every organization's IT systems and services are going to be different. And so there might not be any one framework that encompasses everything for every company, but instead made up, as we said, a variety of these structures and processes and mechanisms that meets the need of helping us in working with and managing IT. The broader processes of IT governance framework then, and again broad because it's so hard to narrow it down to one company. Number one is that IT resource management, which focuses on the inventory of the resources as well as the risks involved with those resources, should be a part of that framework. Another part of the framework is a performance measurement to make sure that the IT resources are performing as they're expected to, as well as being able to deliver a benefit to the organization. Another part of the framework is compliance management when it comes to regards for the implementation of processes, making sure that they're compliant and meeting all of the regulatory laws and regulations, as well as, of course, the objectives of the business.